If it's even possible to get more interesting, it just got more interesting. It is an absolute chess board. It is my heaven how to plot politically what he does next. What does President Trump do? What is the strategy? What does he do? Not how does he react? What do we do? We got 106 days until the election. They've got 30 days until 29 days until, believe it or not, until their own convention. And they're going to be getting a lot of intel from what's going on, a lot of leakers and the like. But the question is, what does President Trump do? And how do we best handle this? Does he just do whatever strikes him? Does he just follow his same instincts? What does he do? What gets the most attention? How many people in the country do you think know or care anything about what's happening? Anybody, do you? How many people do you know? Who are the voters? Who are the targets? What are you going for? What do you go for? What about the timing? You don't want to go too early. How do you handle this? What does he do? That's what I want to talk about. That's, to me, the most fascinating. Not, what do I think? What do you think? Do we like Kamala? No. Is she a liar? Yes. Is she this? Yes, of course. Yes. What about the undecideds who don't know about this? What about the swing voter? What about somebody who may say, I didn't know that. Wait a minute. What about her? She did what? That's what I want. So that's what we're going to be talking about, my friend. So get ready, strap yourself in, and get ready for this evening, because we are going to be going. Oh my God. This got so interesting. This is the most fascinating, because now it's about strategery, as we say. But first, dear friends, this critical word from our critical sponsor. Are you worried about the future of the U.S. economy? With so much uncertainty in the air, it's natural to fret about the security of your retirement savings. But there's one asset that stands the test of time: gold. You know, for centuries, gold has been a hedge against market volatility and economic instability. With a gold IRA from Noble Gold Investments, you can harness the power of precious metals to help protect your financial future. By rolling over your existing IRA or 401k into a self-directed gold IRA, you can enjoy the potential for long-term growth and stability. Diversify your portfolio with a tangible asset that has real value. Setting up your gold IRA has never been easier with Noble Gold Investments' streamlined process and expert guidance. This election year, don't let election volatility and uncertainty keep you up at night. Vote for the timeless safety of gold and silver in 2024. Noble Gold Investments will give you up to 10 1-ounce silver Trump coins, or, I love this one, or a 10-ounce silver American flag bar if you open a qualified account. Go to LionelNationGold.com now. That's LionelNationGold.com. And remember, there's always a risk of investment, and there's no guarantee of any kind. Now, what do we need to do? Well, first of all, got my coin. Look at that. Look at that shine. Look at that silver. Check this out. Barkeep. Anyway, I love the sound of that. Okay, what do we do? Debate? Plan? Strategy? What? Kamala today she went to Delaware and spoke with her campaign workers as they officially transferred it to him. You got that? Very important. As they transferred the debate, or excuse me, the office. Biden has he's canceled everything for the next, 2 weeks, or Next 9 events. He's not going to be meeting with BB. He is not going to be. He is on his way to stepping down. He can't say it yet, but he will step down. You hear what I'm saying? He will step down. And she will be the acting president pursuant to the 25th Amendment. You got that? There's all kinds of theories going around now about how he was threatened to be forcibly removed. I don't even know what that means, forcibly removed. They were going to use the 14th or the 25th Amendment to get him out. It's ridiculous. I mean, all he had to do was say, you know what, the hell with you, I'm going to fight back or whatever it was. But anyway, he's going to have to step down. And it is imperative right now that the Trump team have a strategy. And here is what the strategy is going to be, okay? Number 1, you do not answer what people say about you. You almost ignore. Find out the subject matter that she went through a series. She just read from the prompter. She reads prompter stuff very well. She is formidable. She doesn't say pause and everything. She knows what she's doing. She's no slouch, but those aren't her words. None. Those aren't her words. So what does he do? I will never know why this is so sensitive. I have no idea. Charlie Calais says, I can't believe Joe Biden doesn't know where the bodies are, especially all the close actors. I think he does. I think he certainly does. I think he knows where they are. By the way, Charlie, thank you. But remember, he's on his way out. It's past tense. It's moot. It's done. It's finished. It's over. It's done. It is over. It doesn't matter anymore what Joe Biden thinks, what Joe Biden did. It doesn't matter any longer. It's over. Let's just forget about Joe Biden. What do you say, everybody? Yeah? Just forget about it. That's it. He called in today and Kamala was very nice. He was very nice. How many people do you think saw that? Nobody. What does it matter? Not at all. It doesn't matter. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our new sponsor, Coalition for False Hope. This is the best. This touche. I want to meet this genius. The Coalition for False Hope is a nonprofit organization designed to give false hope to those in need. Telling the truth hurts. That's why people need false hope more than ever. Join our coalition against false hope and give false hope now. Thank you for that. Absolute genius. Your best ever. Absolutely the best. George Len says the Dems don't play defense. Keep moving the ball. Okay, that's very good. Very good. My take is very, very simple. Kamala just gave you a list of what he's going to say. You don't acknowledge her. You don't acknowledge her except for a few things. For example, number 1, everybody sit down in your group and come up with 10. Don't give too many because people will feel they just will lose track. 10 maximum. Think of the worst things that are the most important, that are the most visceral, that affect people immediately. Something so you don't even have to explain. You talk about violent attacks. There's a number of sexual batteries that went up through the roof in New York. Murders, mayhem, gun crimes, go down the list since 2020. Go to border, crime, inflation. Just go down the list. Fentanyl, opioids, porous border. People don't understand. People have this idea that when you that the big deal about the border is that there are these foreign people who came in. That's what people think the big deal is. That's what they do. They think that you're complaining merely about, or we're complaining, or Trump's complaining merely about, hey, what are all these foreigners doing in here? That's not what it's about. It's the fact that you've lowered the border, you've destroyed it, and you've made it porous to bring in now fentanyl, opioids, sex trafficking, child predation, cartels permanently in. You've got to expand. When they hear border, they think of xenophobia. They think that we just don't want them brown people in here. That has nothing to do with it. We have to zero in on what these people are. It's not illegal aliens, it's criminals. There were criminals coming over our border. Criminals. And just as you have pictures, you have all of the people who were killed and abused and hurt by virtue of people who this would not have happened if they weren't here. So number one, we have to articulate the problems very, very, very simply. Ms. Lauren one says, they did something to him. The letter yesterday was odd. It was a blank piece of paper I could have typed. President Trump attempt, and this, assassin. Yeah. You say they're linked. Okay. First, did you happen to see today Cheadle's testimony? She's gone. Everybody came after Cheadle. Left, right, Ocasio-Cortez. Everybody did. And they tried to make the gun thing, AR-15. Do you know how many rounds are available in the AR-15? You can take deer rifle stuff. It's become this thing. See, there's one thing that Democrats do, and the Republicans do it too. But the Republicans, they'll say, for example, Project 2025. Nobody knows what that means. Project 2025. Project 20, and the president and 2025. And if someone said, hey, Kamala, during a debate, here's $100 to your charity of your choice, whatever. Give me one sentence, two sentences, what Project 2025 is. Nobody knows what it is. I don't even know what it is. I don't know what the hell this stuff is. I don't know what it is. The Republicans did this years ago. Remember Saul Alinsky? That Saul Alinsky, that is typical, absolutely prototypical Saul Alinsky. If ever I've heard it, it's Saul Alinsky. Who's Saul Alinsky? He's a guy with a thing with it. That's Saul Alinsky, Matt, son of a gun. You're trying to pull that Saul Alinsky stuff, aren't you? I know what you're doing. You're bringing up Saul Alinsky. And pretty soon people said, oh, Jesus, that's that Saul Alinsky again. I don't know who this guy is, but I hate him. Who is he? I don't know, but I don't like him. Project 2025, we can't let that happen. What is it? I have no idea. Critical race theory, you know what it is. DEI, we know what it is. So anyway, so they're going to do this. I heard Kamala's response. She just went through the list. Project 2025. Her whole thing is going to be, I'm a prosecutor, and we're going to go after fraud. And he's a convicted felon. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. You don't react to it. You just don't. You don't let these people determine the particular direction of this. You start off with these things. Make sure you know everything. Next, how do you trust any administration that hides the fact that the commander-in-chief, the leader of the free world, is mentally and cognitively unable to assume the duties of the job. How do you trust these people? Edith Wilson, the wife of Woodrow Wilson, along with, I think, the physician, were two people who were hiding this fact. Two. Now, the real truth is anybody who just saw Joe Biden would have known this. So what else are you going to hide from this, Democrats? What else are you going to hide? What other fact are you going to hide? Let me see. Lying to the American people, secreting and preventing them from knowing a critical fact, letting them know if there was a threat made against us, would you let people know? Now, I'm not talking about compromising national security, but if you don't even have the wherewithal to say, we cannot do this, you should have instituted or invoked or threatened to invoke the 25th Amendment. You were there the whole time. And how people now all of a sudden are claiming, I had no idea who stood before you, who allegedly met with him. Georgia Maloney, everybody at the G7 knew within 5 minutes. Oh my God. And people who work with him, theoretically, who work with Joe all the time, now stand before you and say, I have no idea. Really? You're lying. You're lying. You had one job to do. That's all you had to do. You owe your duty to the Constitution and the people of this great nation, not to a political party and not to your president. But how many people do you know who stood before you and lied and laughed their way? Everything's funny. Just keep laughing. Just keep smiling. Everything's peachy. Everything's great. Nothing to worry about. And let's talk about crime, shall we? What do you say? Let's talk about crime. I'm glad certain people brought that up. Crime. Former prosecutors. Well, here's one for you. How about a president who stood before the world and said specifically, I said you better fire that prosecutor or else we're going to pull that money. Quid pro quo. And bragged about it. Nobody said anything. No reprimand. No nothing. And then you sat back and watched a drug-addled, very mentally ill, very sick little boy. They sent him out. They sent him out to do daddy's bidding for all of his family. Compromise not only his son, but his family members, having him set up LLCs to bring in the money so that the big guy could get his cut. This was going on in front of the world. This violated every law there was. And yet, these self-styled Elliot Ness types never did anything about that. Isn't that interesting? Hypocrisy? If only it were hypocrisy. If only it would be hypocrisy. Then we've got somebody who we have in front of everybody, a fellow, this drug-addled, sick little boy decided I still have to make more money for the big guy in front of everybody. And he decided I'm going to sell finger paintings. The most blatant and obvious and the most sensational example of you've ever seen in your life on his own. Nobody said anything. And these people stand before you now. Oh, these paragons of purity, these mandarins of mendacity who never said anything. Nothing. And you have a DOJ that didn't do anything. You have an FBI who didn't do anything. You've got Merrick Garland. You've got nobody. No, it is a corrupt cabal. The entire group, from Mayorkas to Fauci to Merrick Garland, go down the list. Go down the list. This is a racketeering enterprise. The entire administration. And did Elliot Ness say anything? No, she didn't. She was too busy just walking around, having a good time, laughing, having a good time, laughing. Everything's great. YouTube Sue says they used the video of a quid pro quo to impugn Trump of that exact crime. Diabolical, yes. So that's exactly right. And they must know what it means. I would always say, laugh Oh, I would just, oh my God. Soul 76 says, Pops will step down from POTUS, insert Kamala Harris, and now we have broken the glass ceiling with the first female POTUS. All black women are not. Yeah, thoughts. That's exactly what I said before. Under this, he will step down, 25th Amendment kicks in, and she becomes acting president. She becomes an incumbent president. Absolutely. That's what I said today. That's what I've been saying. I don't want to sound like Dershowitz, but I mean, I'm saying that I've been saying this. It's not that it's a great prediction. He can't stay in office. He can't. And I would do this one thing to just drive her crazy. I would say, and what did they do? They laugh. Oh, everything's so funny. It's kind of demented. It's diabolical. I don't see anything funny to you. I've heard of whistling past the graveyard, but this is another story. And then go down the list. Now, remember what they're going to do. Project 2025 is one. That Trump wants to abolish abortion, that he will sign some federal mandate. Does anybody here actually believe that there would ever be legislation that anybody politically would sign on to legislation prohibiting abortion? Does anybody really think that for a moment? Seriously? George at the lake says 2 presidents within a week. Interesting. We have right now, and by the way, George, it should be Georgia, pardon me. We have, I think, a president, I'm not sure. Now, here is the deal. President Trump has to make a really big stink, as does his people. And I don't mean going on the Jesse Waters show, but going and really saying, where is the president of the United States? Karine Jean-Pierre said, in the event somebody, let's say that Kim Jong-un were to fire off some tactical nuke or whatever it was, where is the president? Well, we have people. Who were the people? Who were the people? Who are the people who would decide what to do? Who are the people? Now, I'm going to throw a monkey wrench into the works here. And this is something that most people in this country care nothing about. 2 things. Number 1, Ukraine. Number 2, Israel. Americans don't care anything about it. I'm sorry. I know there are pockets of Democrats. I know that there are Max Blumenthal and there are Judge Napolitano, and there are some very, very brilliant people. I'm talking about the American voters, though. They have no idea what this is about. Something about terrorism or Hamas. They have no clue. Not a clue. Now, he's canceled his meeting with Bibi. Is Kamala going to meet with him? Now, here's the thing. He's meeting with a vice president? Do you know what an insult this is? I'm meeting with the vice president? No, but she's the leading Democratic nominee. So what? I'm going to meet with Booty Giggity Giggity. He might throw his. Do you recognize the protocol? And Bibi's saying, Joe, yeah, what's going on here? Joe, the deals we made. What's going on? And you know what Joe is saying? F you. You don't want me? Fine. You're on your own. Joey's sick. Joey's got a problem. Joey's got a problem. Joey's got the coup. He got the Rona. Joey's sick. I don't want to be around you. I don't want to put you in. You don't want me? Fine. You don't need me. I'll be in Rehoboth. I'll be with Jill. We'll be watching Matlock in the afternoon. You don't want me. You don't want me to be here in the first place. You don't need me. And I don't need you. And I have been humiliated. I have been humiliated, and all I had, believe it or not, was my pride. That may not mean enough to you, but I have been pushed aside by her ignominiously, unceremoniously. This is what? So you know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to sit back and say, Kamala, you have all my support. You go, girl. You go. You go ahead. Go ahead and do your thing. Do your thing. Because that's all that matters. Because I'm with you, Kamala. I'm with you, girl. I'm with you, girl. Got that? And if Trump does that, if he has some way of just not even mentioning her name, but just say, and some people just sit around and they laugh. Oh, everything's so funny. You know, I've been in the White House, and a lot of things aren't funny. By the way, you see this right now? This is Mrs. L's X or Twitter account. You follow it right now. Do what I say. I'm telling you right now. This is the one you want. This is the keeper. Okay. Plus, you might see a picture of our Wuzu and pictures of us in the Yugo. I'm telling you. I know. If that doesn't lure you, I don't know what does. But anyway, think about this. If President Trump said to people, do you know what I know? Do you know? I don't know if Trump still gets a briefing every day, because a lot of presidents still do, even after the fact. But do you know what it is to be the president and what information? I can't tell you what I know. But needless to say, I had to be there. And I promise you, ladies and gentlemen, look at me. I don't know what you think about me. You may not like me. You may not like my whatever you don't like. I don't know. But there isn't a leader on this planet who doesn't respect me and doesn't fear me. I'm a most cordial person in meetings. I'm great at G7 meetings, all that stuff. But you don't want to mess around with me, and they know that. And you need a president that scares people, that makes them think like whatever you do, he's not serious. Now ask yourself a question. And I know, bless her heart, she means well. What type of respect do you think is that's going to garner? What kind of fear? Right now, you've got people who have been waiting for the longest time to do all kinds of stuff. And it may not necessarily be just invading us. It could be taking our citizens. It could be invading. It could be sponsoring terror, proxy. It could be a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff that most of the time people would say, not now, not with Trump. Don't do this. You know, there's this thing I'll never forget. There's this, it was the most interesting thing. I was talking one time to a fellow, had one of the best names ever, Nimrod. I think that's one of the greatest names ever. He was an Israeli feller who was very interesting. And he said, do you understand kind of the way we think here? I said, not really. He said, well, let me explain something to you. You have to understand the way people think. He said, this is the Middle East and the Arabs. This is, Saddam Hussein was into people, Saladin and Arabian Nights and all this stuff, swords and, all that stuff. And there's an expression, and when it came, and this is just as an example, he said, there's an expression. He said that an Arab, by the way, Linda, thank you so much. An Arab, he said, would burn their blanket to kill the fleas. They love kind of overreaction. And I said, we were talking one time, and I said, I really don't. I did not agree with 9/11 or with the Iraq and Afghanistan. He says, okay. He says, you know what people thought here? And I was expecting, a lifelong distrust. And he says, no. What they said here, and when I mean here, I mean the whole area, because Arabs and Jews say salam, shalom. It's basically the same. They share a lot of food and ideology to an extent, despite some pretty glaring differences. But they said, you know what they said here? They said, now that's the United States we know. People love respect. People love, you say, oh my God. People love the badass. Do you ever see that great, what's his name? That African leader. He has the berets, a young man, straight as an arrow. Who's got that military, I don't know his name, but immediately people said, wow. Major Michael says, should Trump get ahead of it and call for the 25th? No. Why should he do that? No. What causes more chaos? What causes more chaos? It's kind of interesting in a way, though. Look at this. CR gifted 1 Lionel Nation membership. How delightfully kind and beneficent. Thank you, CR. I wouldn't bring up the 25th at all. Not at all. Mm-mm. But I would be going crazy. I would say, where's Joe? Now, see, if I had the group, I would have mobilized groups. I would have people march. I would have people march, and I would have everybody notice. I would have all of my news organization, my feed, taking pictures and videoing and uploading the people protesting, significant numbers. Where's Joe? Where's our president? Our president's AWOL. Where is he? COVID isn't enough to get you, is to stop you. Sean Lucan, thank you, sir. COVID's not going to stop you. Just because you're PCR, just because you're positive, doesn't mean you have symptoms because you have SARS-CoV-2 and you can't breathe. How many times did people have COVID? They were asymptomatic. They didn't even know it. How many times were people, I tested positive? I said, well, can you breathe? Yeah. If you can't breathe, let me know. People always confuse that. It was the weirdest thing. The way they responded, with the PCR test, it basically tells the fact that you came into contact. There was one, if you will, one little molecule of SARS-CoV-2, even though it didn't affect you in the least. John Jelaine says, remember when Lieutenant Governor became governor of New York after Cuomo was forced out? Yes. That was Kathy Hochul. Yes, indeed. And there were other, he resigned and then she moved in, and it was one of the worst days ever. But don't forget, he was also absolutely the worst person in the world. Pilgrim says, who is President Trump's campaign manager? That's a great question. I do not know. Clone of Steve Dream Killer, the good doctor, says, I'm here for all of your medical needs. Are we going to, and we are going to need them, although gastroenterologists and psychiatrists will be in demand, given all the Kamala Harris we are likely to see. By the way, SARS-CoV is an excuse. Of course it is. I one time said, I know I sound like pulling a Dershowitz. I'm sorry, I'm not. I meant this. I said, he is, because I thought for sure, and I would have bet anything, I didn't see this coming, that it was going to be Gavin Newsom. And by the way, I heard about Gavin Newsom so long ago from people in the know, moles in California who noticed his media buys. He was buying all these websites, and he wasn't available, and he was meeting with all these folks. So I didn't just pull this out of the air. I had reason to believe this. And I said that either Biden would have either some manifestation of SARS-CoV-2 or some manifestation of some new branched, some version of it, some strain or some, or those ones, not strains, but they're called these variants and things like that. Or I said it might have been his aneurysm, because when we had the aneurysm surgery years ago, it was far more brutal. There's the expression, you ain't the same when the air hits your brain. Or he could fall down, something along those lines. That's what I had suspected. Matless X says, who shot JR? Where's the beef? Where's Joe Biden? Consider the marketing angle. Indeed. I thank you for that. Mark Wilson said, Lionel, bang, bang, chitty, chitty, bang, bang. Our fine four-fendered friend. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. You are delightful and marvelous concomitantly. All right. So as we speak, there are these other beautiful, beautiful little iterations of all this stuff, which I find fascinating. One of the motivating factors, in addition to everything else, is what about J.D. Vance? Now, Drudge was intimating, and I don't believe this, that Trump is regretting J.D. Vance. For some reason, I feel almost sacrilegious, but I don't see anything that, I mean, he's good. 2 rallies, big crowds. That's good. That's good. But he had Trump crowds. It's good. Good crowds. Good. And he has Trump crowds. And I want all the time to remember that what we're looking at is very, very simply the Democrats. And the reason why is we don't even give Kamala the dignity of calling her by name. She never did anything. And by the way, Black America, let's talk about what she did to you and black men, how she imprisoned more African Americans than anybody else. And don't forget, too, your buddy Joe Biden was the one who, when they wanted to criminalize powder cocaine or crack cocaine, he knew exactly what he was doing. Oh, by the way, I forgot something. I had a newsletter go out today. Did you get it? Did you sign up for my newsletter? Did you do that? I'm going to put this link up. You better do the right thing. You better do the right thing, because I'm telling you right now, my friends, this is really, really important. Really. Oh, that's not it. Hang on a minute. I had the wrong thing. I must put the wrong, just a second. Let me get it for you. Oh, here we go. It's a dadgum good newsletter. It was a beaut today. It went out. So please, let me give it to you right now. There we go. There's the link. Da-da-da. That's it. That's the newsletter. I'm gonna resend it tomorrow for those who didn't get it today. So sign up now and get it. It's just sheer brilliance. It's poetic loquacity. The way it is spelled, the way it presented with such limpidity, pellucidity, it is nonpareil. Immane. George Len said, Chicago may be ugly next month. Blacks and Venezuelans. Interesting. I don't know what. Oh. Well, you know what? Let me explain something to you. This is something that, and what I think is going to happen, I don't know. Now, what I want always is specifically everything to be peaceful. I want peaceful. Peaceful means the most to me. I want peace. I don't want anyone to be hurt. I don't want anyone to be harmed. I don't want anybody to be. I want peace. My revolutions are nothing but intellectual revolutions. These are what I want. I want intellectual revolutions. I do not want anything involving, as you can imagine, bad stuff. But what I hope happens is I hope, as I mentioned this before I was a bit waylaid, so to speak. What are they going to do about Israel? Where, where did all of the protests go? There was a talk, Elise Stefanik and others they were demanding. Remember Claudine Gay? What are you doing to protect kids from anti-Semitic violence? What are you doing on your college campuses? And we should make anti-Semitism against the law. I thought, oh my God, what are you talking about? And then poof, all of a sudden, it just went away. Why did it go away? Why? Why? Where did they go? All these organized kafiyas, and they were on the campuses, and we're not leaving, and this from the river to the sea, and then poof, just gone. What happened? Something tells me they're going to be back in Chicago. Then what happens? What is Kamala Harris specifically? What is your position? Now, one of the words, one of the phrases, one of the things, one of the lightning rod words is this word called genocide. Now, in my humble opinion, it's the worst word you can ever use. Under the Rome statutes and the UN statutes and the UCC, the UCJ, there are definitions that they apply that word to, which I think are most problematic. YouTube says, does Joe Manchin or RFK play into this at all? Didn't you hear today that RFK might throw his vote towards Trump?
I heard he was mulling it over.
He was mulling it over. Bobby Kennedy wants to be a player. Bobby Kennedy should be some kind of a vaccination liaison or something, or, that's really what he's good at. That's what he knows better than anybody. He definitely deserves a cabinet position. Absolutely. But anyway, this word it connotes in people's minds huge swaths of humanity versus aggravated war crimes. In any event, I'm not here to debate the issue. They're going to ask Kamala Harris a very simple question. Do you, Madam Presumptive President, sort of, and if Trump if Biden steps down, she's the acting president. Do you believe that Israel is committing genocide? Yes or no? Now, put that out, see what she does. Now, Trump's made it very, very clear. He'll say, no. Okay, fine. Now, she's got to say, well, I got to be careful. And not that it matters. I don't think her husband, but her white Jewish husband, they're going to be looking at him like, what do you say? Ask her, pull her out, let her do the hemming and hawing and the laughing. Go ahead, answer that question. What do you think about the ICC ruling? What do you think about the ICJ? What do you think about a warrant against Netanyahu? What do you think about this? What do you think about war crimes? Do you believe that war crimes? Do you believe right now? And he goes through this whole thing. Force her. She has no idea what. Make her answer the question. Because there's no, maybe, we want, no, this is not about ceasefires and all that stuff, because that's not it. Ceasefire is going to start right up again. Do you advocate? Do you believe that there is just human rights violations? Do you believe? What are you going to do on behalf of the leader of the free world? What are you going to tell Bibi Netanyahu? And if you don't think he's persuasive, look how he tried to push Obama around and humiliated him by appearing before Congress. What do you think she's going to do? Do you think she's able to handle that? Now, what's going to happen was, either way, here's the best part. And what Trump comes in, here's what Trump says. Listen to me carefully. She can't even handle him, and he's an ally. How do you think she's going to handle Putin or Xi Jinping or Erdogan or anybody else for that matter? He's our friend, and she can't handle him. How do you like that one? Let me say that again. I don't think you heard me the first time. She can't handle dealing with an ally. I can. Do you think she can say, would you close the door? Yeah, don't you ever embarrass me again, baby. You understand this? Do you think she could ever do that? Do you think when there is going to be one person on this planet that says, whatever you do, don't push it? Soul 76 Can says, knowing when to fight and when not to fight. DJT should let the Democrats flail like after the debate. He cannot, however, become complacent and must stay disciplined. He must not underestimate Kamala Harris. Absolutely. Here. Do not misunderestimate. Who said that? Bush? Whatever. I love that. Misunderestimate. What? Absolutely. There's something that she might try. And if she says something like sexism or whatever it is, he'll say, oh, no, don't even go there. Mrs. Harris, Miss whatever it is. I knew Maggie Thatcher. You're no Maggie Thatcher. You're no Jean Kirkpatrick. You're no Golda Meir. You are not. There are people in Washington. Say what you want. You may laugh all you want what I'm about to tell you. Hillary Clinton's got a pair on her like you can't believe. And I'm talking about, she is like, they're made of steel. Hillary Clinton, you never, ever, there's one thing about her. You never said, she's a pushover. Oh, really? And I'll tell you another one too, who might surprise you. She kind of scares me almost because she's crazy. It's Pelosi. Speaker of the House, don't push her. But Kamala Harris? You're going to be dealing with people around the world who are sexist, who are male chauvinist pigs, or whatever you want to call them, and you're going to get this one? You can say whatever you want. I don't care it doesn't matter about who's right or wrong. When Golda Meir, this little grandma, did you ever hear? Remember that story we heard about her when she was a young woman she was a wild woman. Remember that when they were, profligates? Anyway, but she walked around with a little purse and she looked like your grandmother. She looked like, I swear to God, like my Aunt Carmelina. I swear to God. She was this. Oh my God. I think she lived in Milwaukee and nobody ever took her for a fool. There were other people who said, oh my God, it's Golda Meir. Watch it. Let me tell you something. Let's assume somebody says, you know what? Let me ask you a question. Ms. Is it Mrs. Harris? Let's assume that one day you find out that a contingent of Hezbollah fighters or some rogue Houthi lone wolf detonated a device in Disney World. Some place that we go to, some place that try to rob us of our. Notice how nobody talks about Disney World. Remember when it was like the most important battleground for drag shows. Now nobody cares about it. Forget it. What happened to the drag shows? Nobody cares. That's America for you. It just comes and goes. Anyway, what would you do about that? Madam Kamala, what would you do? And don't give me this rhetoric about we will show. What will you do? There's one thing that people don't know, and I will tell you right now, and I can argue both sides of it. When Trump targeted Soleimani, that was not good. That was not good. Oh, you can say whatever you want about him. That was not good. However, it made people think, Holy wow. Don't forget, Obama did that too. It's not a good idea, but it's what if you were sitting here one day and you're just whatever it is, and all of a sudden, God forbid, remember Mark Milley? Remember that all of a sudden, they just who did this? I don't know. Some country came to our sovereign and took out our chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. What? What would you feel about that? What would you feel about that? You would want blood. Why do we do it? How do we do it? I never understood that. Does that make sense to you? I don't get it. Pilgrim Media says, remember when Trump had Nancy's bags taken off the airplane? Yes. When she was going on a foreign junket. One of the best ones ever. She wanted to fly on government planes, and he had all of her bags taken off and put in front of her door in her office, like, take your own. That was very good. Remember when Newt Gingrich was upset because he couldn't ride on Air Force One or whatever, and he shut down the government, and something, a story like that. But let me just explain something. Now, and you got to be very careful about this because he could do this as well. But Ms. Harris, can you tell me the Houthis? What are they? I won't ask you who runs it. I won't talk about Sinwar from Hamas, whatever. But just do you know what the Houthis? Do you know the Bab al whatever the place is called, the Gate of Tears or something? Do you know what that means? What would you if all of a sudden you found out tomorrow that Iran had scuttled a ship right in the Straits of Hormuz? What would you do? What would you do? Do you understand what this is? You're not going to laugh. You're not going to call somebody up and laugh that one away. Do you understand what that means? When they say, give me the go, and in the event there was some form of, God forbid, an event where you had to actually use that terrible device called the football, and you had in your pocket, you had nuclear codes, and based upon the information that was presented to you, it became important, it became critical, it became mandatory for you to respond in kind. Can you do that? Do you understand what that is? Do you understand what that is? And if you really want to do it, all these stories. I love these ideas about the way we, the left or the right always have to say, you know what the difference between a man and a woman is. Ms. Harris, when you were born, what were you called? Called a baby, right? Yeah. If your mother had decided after you were born, she says, on second thought, nah. What do you think about that? What's your take on that? You think she'd be able to do that? I'm just, yes or no? Because you make a big deal about women's rights and everything. What do you think about that? Baby's born, and then the mother says, no, I'm going to be responsible for it. You know what? Nah. What do you think? Yes or no? Just you independently. Yeah, I'm not talking about law, morality. What do you think about that? What do you think about taking a baby out after it's born? It's yours. It's kind of, okay. I'll make it even a little bit more difficult. Let's say it's almost on the way out. It's got its head sticking out. Hello, life. Hello, I'll be there in a minute. Now, it's your body, because technically it's in your body, but it's on its way out. On its way out. Couple of more pushes, and there you go. What about that? Do you mind if the life is terminated then? It's your body. What about this one? It's not anywhere near crowning. I mean, this is your body. I'm just, you talk about this. I heard you speak at these, these speeches. You act like it's a person's body. It is. You're right about that. Like he's getting a wart or something removed. Warren Ocasio, ladies and gentlemen, he's a new member. Have some crumb cake. Move right to the front of the line, Warren. But I wish people who want all this stuff about, and you think that I'm going to ban this, but I'm curious. What do you think that thing is? I know it's her body. I understand it. But I'm just curious. What do you think that is? Does it have any rights at all? Anything? If a pregnant woman were involved in, let's say, an event where she were to have been shot or injured or something, and the baby, I'm going to be so abrupt and so crazy. I know it's that Project 2025 again. Woo! But I'm going to say the baby dies. What would you charge that with? What? Pilgrim Media knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. Thank you, Pill. What do you call that? Because I keep hearing you talk about baby, the life of the mother, the body of the mother, and I appreciate that. But I'm just curious. Does this thing have any? Do you care about this significant? Does this breathing thing? What is it to you? What do you call this thing? What is it? Clump of cells, blastocyst, fetus, advanced fetus, unborn. What do you call this thing? What is it? When parents go and I am, by the way, pro-choice, but these questions are tough. And when a woman goes and they go to the sonographer and the sonogram, you go and they take that goopy thing and they go, okay, here we go. And you hear what is that? Oh, there's a heartbeat. What's a heartbeat? Heartbeat of what? What is that, a thing? And when the sonographer says, it's a boy, how does she, usually, could be a man, but how does she know it's a boy? What is that? What is she looking for? What does she see? How dare she say, a boy? You Democrats didn't want to have any kind of reference to anything. How do you have a reveal party when there's no such thing as gender? Why don't you want to just you had the other day at the White House, you celebrated female athletes. Why is there any distinction between male and females? Why do they have their own separate sports? Come on. You had those folks dancing around there who were screaming and yelling about there being no designation. They couldn't even answer what a male is. I want you to answer these questions. Because I think the American people, Kamala, want to know little basic things. And I haven't even gotten into the hard stuff. When does life begin? Is it a life? And what do you call this thing? Men and women. Because if you say anything, if you say, well, it's a boy, it's a girl, you've just veered from, I'd say, 80% of your core constituency. Because they made a big deal about that. And by the way, what's your pronouns? I saw something you did the other day, Kamala. You had this funny. Did you actually have this? You said, what's my pronouns? And you said, and I'm sitting here, I have a blue jacket on. I don't know what the hell. What was that for what? It's not for the visually impaired because they can't see the blue jacket. It wasn't for the hearing impaired because nobody was signing it. So when you said I'm sitting before you wearing a blue jacket, what was that for? Is that just to remind yourself of you were there? But let me ask you a question. You said my pronouns are she and her. Isn't the point where sometimes you issue pronouns in order to clarify it? That maybe sometimes people will say, I just don't, it's almost when something doesn't appear to be what it is. So why did you do that? That was gratuitous. YouTube says the schmeckle. Thank you so much. The schmeckle is indeed the defining factor of this. Why did you do that gratuitously? I'm just curious. Why did you do that? Did you think that we didn't know what your gender was? Were you concerned? Did you want to affirm it? Does your husband know? Hey, Doug, how are you, babe? Does your husband, the first dude or whatever his name is, does he Has this ever been a problem before? So why did you do it? You did it because you were gratuitously pandering to a group of people that you don't even believe in. You do this and you laugh and think it's funny. When you had LGBT whatever at the White House, and this one trans man was flashing, what did you think about that? And by the way, because I know you're a prosecutor, do you mean to tell me you honestly don't know who had that cocaine there with all the cameras and a plasticine bag that has fingerprints? Did you ever investigate that? Matt Lambert, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Matty. Did you ever do that? No, you didn't. You didn't do anything about that, did you? No. And you ever prosecuted Gus Hunter? And you ever do? So, you talk a good game about this. You really do. I mean, honest to God, you really do. And I would just make her sound like this oafish. And what I'd really love to do is to tell her, you know what? Do you really care about the middle class? You know what some folks say, never her, say what she said, but refer to, they say that I always want tax cuts for the rich. Did you ever hear that one? Yeah. Where'd that come from? Didn't come from anywhere, did it? I think some people make that up. And I think you know who those people are. That's right. You have this idea, and sometimes too, people have said, and I take offense to it, that I'm somehow going to set things back and I don't even know what this means. Tell me, do they hand this to you? Or do you sit up at night and write what you say? Do you just read what people give you? Because, see, that can be very scary. See, I want to know what you believe, not what your speechwriter writes. One thing about me, this is President Trump talking, I may be, whatever, but I speak my own mind. And I sometimes speak for 90 minutes. Oh, I do. I plead guilty. I'm long-winded. Joe Biden hasn't, if you took all his speeches in the past 10 years, they're half an hour. So I'm sorry if I'm loquacious, if my loquacity bothers you. But do you really mean what you're saying? Do you really mean this? I would just sit here and make her out to be like this imposter, which is what she is. She is an imposter. She's not real. She's a place setter. She's an animatronic. We're going to have another one of these auto pens. She's going to do what they say. She hasn't had an original thought in her life. She thinks she knows what it is. She thinks she understands it, but she really doesn't. And that's exactly what's going on. So, Mr. President, you can do it, dear sir. You can do it. But we need discipline. We need focused attacks, and keep it to, remember, people don't like you to get personal. I know this bothers you. And dear sir, I love it. We get a kick out of it. Our friends get a kick out of it. Liz Solak gets a kick out of it. Denny Cosgrove loves me to do it. Eddie Jones, Ms. Justice, CR thinks it's hysterical. She goes crazy. But for the uninitiated, they don't like that. Don't do that. Act respectful. I want this reaction from people. Hey, I didn't know that. Well, Kamala, what do you say to the man? I didn't know that. Well, what do you have to say about that? That's what I want. That's it. I didn't know that. I never thought about that. That's what I want. Do not lose faith, my friends. Do not lose faith, but do not take these people lightly. You hear what I'm saying? I want to defeat them soundly. I want to grind them into dust. I want them to wish they never thought about this ever. I wish they never thought about this. I wish they say, oh my God. Now listen, got a brand new videos from Mrs. L's YouTube channel. You got it right now. And by the way, thank you for being a part of it. They are terrific, and we thank you. And the stuff that the most stolen, I shouldn't say that, but I'm going to say that. The most stolen YouTuber X channel by bar none, by some pretty big names. I'm not going to mention who. Is Mrs. L's YouTube Twitter channel. And that's it. Right? That's it. Lynn's Warriors. Lynn's _ Warriors. So don't forget to, I got to do all this stuff. Sorry. Lionel Nation, make sure you're still subscribed. Oh, and October the 26th, I posted it right there. Can you imagine if we all can party on the 26th in New York? I mean, seriously. And I don't just hit the stage and book it. Anybody who's ever been there will tell you. Oh no, we all meet and greet and pictures and all that kind of stuff. I can't stand that when you go there and you say, hey, where is he? Oh, what? Oh, no. I'm not bashful, as anybody will tell you. I'm not bashful. So that's coming up. All right? Good. All right, dear friends. So let me tell you something. Charlie Calais, thank you. Coalition for False Hope was the best one I ever saw. George Lenz, Ms. Lauren 1, YouTube Sukes, Soul 76 Can, Georgia at the Lake, Linda Hazlitt, Major Michael, CR, thank you so much. Sean Lucan, John Jelaine, Pilgrim Meteor, Clonus Steve Dreamkiller, and Matthias X, and Mark Wilson, of course. Soul 76, Pilgrim Media, Warren Ocasio, and of course, the lovely and enigmatic Mr. Matt Lambert. All right, folks. Now, tomorrow, big change. We're going to do a 6:30 morning show. 6:30. Can you ready for that? Oh, I get up real early. Oh, yeah. And one more thing. Mrs. L and I saw last night, maybe for the millionth time, Network. It gets better. My top movies, my favorite movies of them all. Godfathers 1 and 2, of course. Network and Fatso with Dom DeLuise. The greatest, you ate the Oni. I think that is one of the greatest movies ever. Anne Bancroft, Ron Carey, the Buffalo Brothers, Oscar Lapidus. Just. Godfathers 1 and 2, Network, and Fatso. That's it. The rest are. You can do your Citizen Kane and all that stuff. That's all right. Those are the ones I could watch because every time I'm thinking, brilliant. And Faye Dunaway, oh my God. Robert Duvall, William Holden, Peter Finch, incredible. And Walter Cronkite's daughter plays one of the radicals. And I mean that sincerely. I really do. Wouldn't that be great if Joe had done one more debate? Joe, what? Come on, man. What? Come on, Joe, please. I didn't do that. Oh, please. Oh, I did it? Is that it? Come on. Oh, Joe, SBD, dude. Come on, man. He who smelt it, dealt it. Remember that one? Joe. Especially in this quiet, or do it when he's talking. There's nothing that throws people off. I don't care what the event is. And do you, John, take Agatha? Whoa. Still, I believe that when God said, okay, I'm almost done. I've made my human. I've got everything done. But there's one thing missing. What? Well, I've done sneezes and coughs and other forms of excretory, but there's really no, sneezing doesn't really, by the way, everybody's sneeze is different. But it doesn't, I want something different. I want something universally known that gets a laugh, where kids laugh, and old people laugh, all around the world. That's what I want. I'm working on it. I'm almost done. I need something. Maybe ear. No, that's not it. Maybe a noise. No, wait a minute. I think I've got it. Kind of a tympanum. Yeah, right. I'm working on it. I think that I think I'm happy. All right, dear friends, have a great and glorious night. See you tomorrow, 6:30 in the morning, Eastern time. Until then, my friends, remember the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya.